guys, it's time for your Lesson 29 and Lesson 30 quiz. You should all already have your protractor so that you can take this quiz. If you don't, pause this video right now and get your protractor. You should have a pencil, but you should always be prepared with a pencil. And if you want, you can have a whiteboard and a marker so that you can work these problems out. All right. Before you do anything, please make sure that you have put your name and the date on your test. Getting a 0 because you didn't put your name on a test is silly. All right, let's go ahead and look at question number 1. If at any point you need to, you can pause this video and then start it again. You can also rewind so you can re-listen to what I am saying. All right? Okay, so number 1. It says, which diagram shows a 55-degree angle? Circle all the correct answers. Don't forget how we use a protractor. Your vertex gets lined up with that circle in the bottom center of your protractor, and one of the rays should be lined up with 0. Wherever the 0 is, that's the set of numbers that you should be counting up from. Okay? So if your 0 is on, if your protractor is pointing at the 0 that lines up with the inner arch of numbers, then those are the numbers that you should be using to read your angle. But if your ray is lined up with the 0 on the outer arch of numbers, then those are the numbers that you should be reading in order to find your measurement. Okay? So don't forget that when you are solving this problem. If the 0 is on the outside, then you should be reading the numbers on the outer arch. But if your 0 is on the inner arch, you should be reading the numbers on the inner arch. All right, so go ahead and pause the video now and solve number 1. All right, let's look at number 2. Lots of words here. We're going to want to make sure that we pull this problem apart. Number 2. Doug uses a protractor to draw an angle. He draws the points shown. Fill in the blanks to complete the explanation about the measure of Doug's angle. All right, so Doug is using a protractor. We can see the protractor that Doug uses, right? Doug's using a protractor. Here is his protractor. All right, so let's read it again. Doug uses a protractor to draw an angle. He draws the points shown. Fill in the blanks to complete the explanation about the measure of Doug's angle. So it says that Doug drew some points. Here are those points. Right? He's got point A, B, and C. All right, let's read it one more time. Doug uses a protractor to draw an angle. He draws the points shown. Fill in the blanks to complete the explanation about the measure of Doug's angle. All right, I feel like we've pulled that part apart really well. All right, let's look at what we've got to fill in the blanks for. Doug's angle will measure blank degrees because he drew point B at the mark on the protractor that is blank degrees from his 0 mark. If he had drawn point A at the 0 mark on the other end of the protractor, his angle would measure blank. All right, so we have 3 blanks to fill in, but 2 of the blanks are in the same sentence. So let's just work on this sentence first, all right? Let's just focus on this sentence right here. And let's go ahead and read this again to make sure that we understand what it's asking. Doug's angle will measure blank degrees because he drew point B. Let's make sure we understand where point B is. Point B on the mark, at the mark on the protractor that is blank degrees from his 0 mark. There's his 0 mark. Everybody see the 0 there? So point A is at the 0 mark on this end. Point B up there. All right? So all you have to do is tell me, what does Doug's angle measure at, knowing that he started at point 0, or point A is at 0, and it's going up here to point B. So you need to tell me, where does his angle line up the way that he did it? All right, that's his angle. What is the measure of his angle? All right, go ahead and pause the video while you fill in the first 2 blanks. All right, let's go ahead and answer the second sentence. If he had drawn point A at the 0 mark on the other side of the protractor, his angle would measure blank. All right, so what it's saying is, if he had not put his point over here, okay, if his point A was instead over here, right, if this was point A, then we would instead be measuring from this other 0 right here, again up to point B. But now what would the measure of his angle be? If we were starting at this 0 instead, what would the measure of his angle be, right? What would the measure of this angle be? If we're starting from this 0, right? And if we're starting from that 0, we better be reading the numbers that go up, that increase from this 0. What would the measure of that angle be? Go ahead and pause the video, and you're going to write that measurement right here in this last blank. All right, let's look at number 3. What is the measure of this angle? Use a protractor to measure. All right, don't forget, when we use these clear protractors, first thing we need to do is make sure that you have it facing the right direction. Make sure that you can read that word clear view. Make sure that your protractor is facing the right way. Now, line up the vertex of your angle with that little circle in the bottom middle of your protractor. This arrow here better be, or this ray, I should say, to use my proper vocabulary, better be pointing at your 0. This ray is what you're going to read. Okay, this ray will be pointing to a number within the arch of your protractor, and this is where you're going to read the measure of your angle. make sure that you are going from 0 and counting up. Also, make sure that your answer is reasonable. Does this look like an obtuse or acute angle? It's mighty, mighty obtuse. So your measurement better be greater than 90 degrees. All right? The answer that you come up with, your answer to this question better be greater than 90 degrees. Because if it's less than 90 degrees, your answer is not reasonable, because less than 90 degrees would not be an obtuse angle, and this is obviously obtuse. All right, answer number 3, and pause your video, and then answer number 3. All right, number 4. Which point shows where you would place the vertex of the angle when using a protractor to measure the degrees of an angle? I hope this is an easy question for all of you. We have gone over and over and over and over where we line up the vertex of our angle and what vertexes are, vertices. So you have point A, point B, point C, point D. Which one of these points is where the vertex of your angle would get lined up? Okay, where would you place the vertex of your angle if you were measuring an angle using your protractor? Pause your video, answer the question. Right, number 5. Number 5 deals with decomposing and composing. You got to figure out which one you're doing. Are you decomposing or composing an angle here? All right. You have an angle that is broken up into 2 smaller angles. Okay. It says write the measure of the unknown angle in the box below. Well, you've got one angle here. What type of angle is this? We've talked about this. What type of angle is this? Okay. Here's a little note for you. The line makes a straight angle with a measure of 180 degrees. Okay. So here is your straight angle. And then you also have this angle here and this angle here. So there are 3 angles here. You should absolutely know the measure of the straight angle. Hint, 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 hint. You should absolutely know the measure of the smallest angle here because it's written right here. And now you need to figure out the measure of this angle. What operation are you going to use to figure out the measure of this angle? We know that all together it's 180, and we know that if we took away this 48-degree angle, we would be left with this angle here. We know that you're starting with 180 degrees, and you need to take away this smaller angle to figure out the measure of this angle. All right, pause your video and solve your problem number 5. Right, number 6. A piece of stained glass art forms a half circle. The part labeled A is green. What is the measure of angle A? All right, so we've got a lot of angles here. Okay, we have a straight angle, and then we've got a 40-degree angle. We've got another 40-degree angle, we've got a 20-degree angle. I don't know why I said 20, 40, sorry, 40, 40, 40, and then we've got a 20-degree angle. And then we've got angle A, and that's what we don't know, right? What we need to find out is what is the measure of just this angle? Well, you should know, especially because we just talked about it, what the measure of your straight angle is. What's the measure of this straight angle? Hint. We just talked about it, right? It says it right here. The line makes up a straight angle with a measure of 180 degrees. 180 degrees is a straight angle. All right, so 180 degrees is what all these angles combined equal. And we know that if we took away this one, we would be taking away 40 of those degrees. And if we took away this one, we'd be taking away another 40 degrees. And if we took away this one, we'd be taking away another 40 degrees. And if we took away this one, we'd be taking away 20 degrees. And that would leave us with just this angle. And that's what you need to figure out. What is the measure of just angle A? All right, pause your video, figure it out. All right, number 7. Parker opens his closet door 65 degrees and then stops because a slipper is stuck under the door. He removes the slipper and then opens the door another 15 degrees. Write an equation to show how many degrees Parker opens the closet door in all. All right, tell me what this problem is about. It's about Parker opening his closet door, but a slipper gets stuck, right? Yep, that's what it's about. All right, let's read it again. Parker opens his closet door 65 degrees and then stops because a slipper is stuck under the door. He removes the slipper and then opens the door another 15 degrees. Write an equation to show how many degrees Parker opens the door in all. All right, what is our goal? To write an equation to show how many degrees Parker opens his closet in all. Write an equation to show how many degrees Parker opens his door in all. All right, let's read it again. Parker opens his closet door 65 degrees and then stops because a slipper is stuck under the door. He removes the slipper and then opens the door another 15 degrees. Write an equation to show how many degrees Parker opens the closet door in all. All right, there's some things that are flashing out to me that is really important. I hope that you are seeing some of these important words and phrases as well. All right, so I want you to pause the video right now and go ahead and circle all of your important information. Okay, hopefully you circled in all, because that tells you something. Those words mean your operation. I also would have circled equation because I want to make sure that I am creating an equation to answer this problem because that's what it's telling me to do. Guys, an equation is like 1 plus 2 equals 3. That's an equation. The number 1, the plus symbol, the number 2, the equal symbol, the number 3. That's an equation, right? That's what you have to create to answer this question. There should not be words here. There should be an equation here. All right, and something else that pops out is 65 degrees, right? And then 15 degrees because he opened it 65 degrees first time and then another 15 degrees. And I want to know how many degrees in all, and I have to write an equation to answer this. You also have to show your work. I want to see some pictures here, guys. Draw a picture. What does it look like when he opens at 65 degrees and then the next 15 degrees? Label it. Label the part that's 65 degrees. Label the part that's 15 degrees, all right? Draw me something that shows how you're thinking this out. And then you're going to write your equation on the line. You're going to write out the math, the actual math that you solved to find how many degrees in all Parker opened his closet door. All right, pause the video. Solve number 7. All right, last problem. Number 8. A suitcase can be opened up to 90 degrees. The suitcase is open 33 degrees as shown. Up to how many more degrees can the suitcase be opened? All right, are we decomposing or composing our angle? Are we combining two smaller angles to make one larger angle? Or are we taking a large angle, removing a small angle to see what angle is left? A suitcase can be opened up to 90 degrees. The suitcase is opened 33 degrees as shown. Up to how many more degrees can the suitcase be opened? All right, so they've given you how much the suitcase can be opened up in total. All right, they're telling you right here, 90 degrees. They've got the little square there. So we know that 90 degrees is how much the suitcase can open in all. And we know that they already opened it 33 degrees. Okay, they've already opened it this much. We want to know how much more it can be opened. So ask yourself, are you combining two smaller angles to figure out the greater angle, or have you been given a greater angle and you are taking away a smaller angle to see what the other smaller angle is? Think about what operation you would want to do. All right, that's the end of this video. You're going to solve number 8. Make sure that your name is on your quiz and turn it in.